Hey, everybody. Welcome to the call, Break the Pattern Part 2. And in Part 1, we covered about addictions and why we attract addicts and our own patterning in that, in attracting addicts. And um, so today, Part 2, we are going to use a tool that I find quite helpful called EFT. And it's like a tapping tool. And as we tap, we say statements that can help. Um, so my company is Circle of the Sun Healing Room, and I've been a certified life coach for 6 years and a holistic therapist for about 18 years. So, and I work with women who are in love with addicts, or you might have a child or a parent or a partner who is an addict. And so I offer coaching and tools and programs to help have a more empowered life and more respect in your relationships. Um, so I'd love to do a bit of an introduction to see who's on the call. So if you don't mind, I see Donna there. Hi, Donna.
Hello again. Sorry, I was knitting.
Oh, okay. So I'd love to hear a little bit why you've jumped on the call. Did you see the call from Break the Pattern Part 1, and did you get some insights from that?
Yeah, I didn't see it live. I watched it this morning, and I sent you some feedback by email. I'm not sure if you saw it or not.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And was it helpful for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I gained some insight from it. I
Yeah.
haven't with my daughter yet, and she's not here for me to share this one to see if she was interested in it, but I can always discuss it with her later.
Yeah. And so is there any results you would like to see, or what you would like to get out of today's call?
Well, I've used EMT. You've taught me it before, and I found it helpful. So I didn't know that was going to be part of it, but I'm glad to hear that it is. I don't know, just gaining for dealing with life in general.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad you're here. So oh, and then before I have you log off, I would love to have some words that I can put into the EFT patterning that we're going to do. So what words would you say? What do you feel when you are dealing with addictive behaviors? Like what words, what feelings come up for you?
Uncertainty, like the pattern will happen again.
Okay.
That's the only thing that popped into my mind.
All right. Any particular emotions you feel? Like, do you feel sad or anger or frustrated or any of those kind of things, or scared or?
Not at the moment, just uncertainty. So worry, I guess.
Okay. And then what would you like to feel instead?
Certainty. It's the opposite. Yeah.
The opposite.
Yeah, calmness, assuredness.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks for being willing to share and introducing yourself. So, all right. And how about we have Forever Young here on the video? Do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, you're funny. That's right. That's that eventually will go on a license plate of some sort. In terms of well, I did some work with the EFT, but it's always a good practice. I think, like, when I did it before, I was in it's a really dire situation, and I found it very helpful. But it's something that I think it's really beneficial to continue to practice, right?
Hmm.
But for sure, like the feelings of um, like like anxiety would be one, right? Anger is another one, and then just to replace them in wanting the sense of peace and calm, especially with the calm part that you know. Um, I think, and the biggest thing with regards to, you know, experiences in the past would just be like forgiveness towards myself and not carrying the guilt, right?
Mm,
Of either somebody else's poor choices or maybe bad decisions that I made or bad reactions or responses that I had. But yeah,
hmm.
just to let go of the guilt, um, and just that self forgiveness.
Right. Okay. Um, yeah, I think that's a huge piece, really, is we can sometimes question ourselves, like on, well, what if I did things different? Maybe I wouldn't have had these results, right? With the addict that I love. And like, so that can weigh heavily on us, but it's not worth having that emotion kind of stuck in us. And what EFT does is it helps release that, uh, like from our because we have our patterning that I spoke in the first video, and so this can create space between like your brain, your thinking, and your body, using the EFT, and it can help release that kind of the thinking, the heaviness. So it can help us like emotionally. EFT, emotional freedom technique, has also been good for physical pain. Say if you have like a really achy, let's say back or something, and you do a few rounds of the EFT, maybe you might start at an 8 out of 10 in intensity, like, oh, geez, it like really hurts. And quite often people can get down to like a 4 or even sometimes a 2, and just by using the tapping, which then it disrupts the synapses in the brain, and so it changes that pattern. Um, so um, yeah, like I've personally used EFT. This was a few years ago, and I was camping because I was taking a course. I was actually taking the EFT course, ironically, and I got a phone call that my child in grade 7 was taken to the hospital, because he had talked about suicide. And that, like, I was freaked out, and I was like, oh my God, like what, like I had to go home, of course, because the principal drove my kid to the hospital. And so I asked the owner where I was camping, can I leave my trailer? I'm too shaky to drive it right now. So I just drove, and I did EFT. Like there's a chopping point. So I was like, obviously I had to have one hand on the steering wheel. I was like chopping on the side of the car, going like, even though I'm like blah 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 freaked out, and even though I'm feeling this, right, saying the statements, and then tapping through, like, for my drive. Tears are coming down. It was like that was the first time that that had happened, that I had to be called for a threat of suicide with my young child. Um so the EFT definitely helped me get through that initial, you know feeling, like like choked and restricted, and um like there's that expression, freeze to free, and that's what it can help with, is to, because sometimes we can just freeze and like not know what to do, whereas the EFT can help us um think more calm, and take proper action and stop that freak out button. So, so I'm going to go through what the points are, and I invite you to follow along. And so we're going to just do tapping. I'll just show you. We're not going to say statements yet. We're just going to do tapping on the points so that everybody knows where they are. So I'm going to start with an opening statement, and it'll be 3 times. And you're going to, this is called a karate chop. So you're going to tap there, so your one hand against the side of your, outside of your hand. And you can use either side, like either hand. So we'll go through 3 times. I'll say an opening statement. And then the other points are, you're going to go your inner eyebrow. You'll tap there. Outer eyebrow. The bone under your eye. Under your nose. Under your bottom lip in that little hollow there. And then just an inch down, like from your collarbone. And then kind of like on your bra line. So you can either like do it at your side or go across like that. So, and then we just keep doing it. So as I say the statements, I'll say it first, and you can keep your microphone off. But I'll say it first, and then I want you to say it and tap. And then I'll say the next statements, okay? All right, so it's kind of nice. Let's just take a couple of breaths before we start, just to kind of get into our bodies. You put your hand on your heart. Just close your eyes. Take a couple of breaths. Feel into it. All right, one more last breath. I'm just going to put a drop of frankincense on before I start, because I find it's very grounding. Put a little bit on the back of my neck and take an inhale. All right, so karate chop first. So just tap there. And then just say these sentences after me. Even though there's a heaviness with loving my addict, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though there's real struggles with my addict, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though sometimes I feel really stuck, I deeply, completely love and accept myself. So, and I want you to evaluate out of 10, what number you would give yourself for the stress you feel when you think of the addict and things that you've had to deal with. And then we'll ask that after, to see if the numbers dropped, to see if the intensity has lessened. So, and just give me a second to, there. All right, so we're going to start with this inner point, inner eyebrow. So just tap, and I'll say a statement, and then I'll say another statement, and then go to the next point. So Sometimes I feel stuck. Next point. There's a real uncertainty with my addict. Next point. And I find it creates uncertainty in my life. Under the nose. I don't know what's going to happen. Under the lip. This creates worry and stress for me. Collarbone. And it creates a disruption in my family life. In your side. There's so much worry and guilt. Inner eyebrow. I don't know what to do. Outer eyebrow. I get anxious and worried. Under the eye. It's really challenging having to deal with this. Under the nose. It's unpredictable, and sometimes I don't know where to turn. Sometimes I just want to control the addict to make it all better. Under the collarbone. If I could just talk sense into them and have them listen, it would all get better. On your side. Sometimes I feel really angry because I'm at a loss. Inner eyebrow. And it sits heavy on me. And sometimes I don't know how to handle it. Outer eyebrow. All this worry. Under the eye, and all this anxiety. Under the nose. And I'm powerless to fix it. Under the lip. Why won't that darn addict listen to me? Under the collarbone. There's no reasoning there sometimes. Their drug of choice is more important than the family. On your side. Sometimes I feel really disrespected. Inner eyebrow. They don't care about me. But I really care about them and love them. Sometimes it doesn't seem fair. Under the nose. And it's so unknown because I don't know if they'll ever get better. Under the lip. Am I always going to have to live this way with anxiety about my addict? Collarbone. There's a real pattern here, and I feel stuck. And sometimes I think the addict is stuck. inner eyebrow. Even though there's all this heaviness that's sometimes daily, outer eyebrow, I feel like there could be hope and there could be tools for me. I'm open to learning about patterns. I'm open to having things change. Under the nose. Maybe it's possible for me to feel calm even though there's a storm going on around me. Under the lip. I can take time and journal my feelings. Under the collarbone. I'm starting to learn that I can't change the addict. On your side. But there are some things I can do to change my thinking about the addict. Inner eye. If I take some time for self-care, outer eye, things that bring me joy, like maybe a forest walk or going to the beach. Under the eye. Maybe I could connect with good friends who understand and who just love and accept me. And I can learn that I'm worthy of happiness, even if my addict is still using. Under the lip. I can do breathing exercises with my hands on my heart and just send myself a whole pile of love. Under the collarbone. I know I'm worthy of forgiveness. On the side. I am doing the best that I can. And I'm willing to forgive the addict too. They have a disease. And until they choose to get help, I'm powerless to have them change. And I'm learning that they would have to they would have to learn to change and have that desire. So one day at a time, I can take steps for my self-care. I can take time for self-love. I can let go of having to control everything that goes on with the addict. I can focus on words like peace and look for things that bring me peace. Whether it's through prayer or church, under the nose, or journaling or artwork or knitting. or nature or camping, laughter with friends, collarbone, side. I feel hope that I can have self-care and joy. And I can pray for my addict, side, and then let it go. And I can set good intentions for them and then let it go under the nose. Under the lip. Because I'm worthy to create a life of peace. What will that look like? I'm worthy to focus on myself. What will that look like? On the side. And I'm worthy to forgive myself because I'm doing the best darn job I can. All right, we're going to finish on top of the head. Just tap the top of your head. I am now open to receiving peace and calm and universal love. And take a breath or two. Let that sink in. And when you're ready, you can drop your arms, let your shoulders relax. So in the chat box, I'd love to do a quick check-in and see how you're doing. If your number dropped, like what was your number before and what is your number now? So I found doing it, I went from about a 7 to a 2. So I see Donna went from a 4 and then to a 2. And she feels much more, or sorry, Forever Young, who is Sherry, actually feels much more relaxed now. So, and she started at a 6 and is now a 3. So, yeah, excellent. And so this kind of tapping can be done like repeatedly as needed. I am planning to launch a program actually that's EFT specifically for to empower yourself when you're in relationship with an addict. So it'll be a video, like a video course and a PDF handout. So I'll let you know when I have the link for that. It'll be a low priced item, like $27. So if you were interested in having a mini EFT course with many sentences to choose from, then yeah, I can send you that link. So before we close up, I just want to see, Donna wrote, I remember this technique and used it when I was in the hospital in March. Oh, very good. Yes, yeah. Because anytime you have stress, I mean, you can use it around really any topic. So yeah, anytime you have stress of it for any reason or pain, the EFT can help like lower the numbers and just have you feel a sense of calm. So all right, any questions from anybody? Like you want to hop on for a minute to wrap up and say a couple of words about today's session? Donna, do you want to hop on?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, it's much easier to learn something when your life is calmer than, say, for example, when you first taught me this and things were like in crisis mode, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, then it does make it easier when you learn it, when you're in calm, to be able to remember it and use it when things are in crisis.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It was like I said, when I was taking the course, the EFT, and then I had to come home because of my son.
Right. Yeah.
Like I was, yeah, I was sort of in panic mode, like,
Yeah.
which is why I didn't drive my trailer home, because it wouldn't have been safe.
I think I remember you telling me that story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, it's, now if I feel like there's something triggering me, I will do the EFT, and just it
Or even-
shifts things. And
or
so,
even just, yeah, deep breathing.
yeah, exactly. Do it
Mhm.
both, right? And
That's
essential oils, like I use essential oils in a lot of my practice. So, and that can help change like the brain chemistry and calm things down. So,
Hmm.
yeah, there's lots of tools. Yeah, for wellness, for calm, for, yeah. So I'll send the recording out, and you can like listen again. Because it might help you on like, oh, okay, yeah, right, I'm worthy. Like, let's like love me and focus on me, and
Mhm.
have less focus, or I called it in the video crazy making behavior, right? Because I used to go and like, oh, let's count how many beers are gone, and then just a gauge, oh, what kind of night's it going to be, by depending on how many beers he's had, right?
Yes.
And like continually doing that is crazy making behavior. So um yeah, so we're worthy to focus on us, and like in the privacy or quiet of my room, like I'll send like energy and healing and so much love to my son, right? And just picture him like having the best life, that he's got it handled, universe has got his back, he's going to figure it out. And
Yeah.
um I feel energetically, because everything is energy and our thoughts are energy, that will serve him better than if I focus on worry, on like, oh my goodness, what if he's a screw up for the rest of his life? What if he lives in my basement for till he's 40? like so I put the focus on the possibility that I see for him. And I do sometimes say to him, I said, I know you're in a trying time, you're young, and I said, but um I believe you're smart. I said the universe has your back, and it's a transition. Like, you're in this phase now and you don't see the light, but I said, as you mature, i- the light will appear. And I said, and I believe that you'll be able to follow your next steps and be a successful adult. He's 17 now. So
Yes.
and I say those words of affirmation to him, and I said, you might not see it now, but just to let him know that I believe things will work out for him. And so, and I think that will, could help him, because everything, like I said, is energy. So,
Yeah. I try to do that too.
yeah, yeah. So, um, all right. Well, thanks for hopping on the call, and we can chat with Sherry now.
Yeah.
Hey, Sherry.
Hey, yeah, no, that's like for sure because my youngest
I
son
didn't
went.
find you on Apple Music.
Oh, okay.
Siri. Siri
Was
thought
that
I was
me?
talking to her.
Oh, okay. No, I was gonna say oh, the overwhelming sense of dread, right? For what could happen in the future, right? It's, and of course all of these thoughts can spiral out of control, right? Thinking the worst case scenario. So yeah, that's why, I've been trying to refocus on, thinking good thoughts and speaking, those positive statements to him. And um, even if he may not appreciate it at the time, it's like word seed, right? And praying for him and praying out of a place of like trust as opposed to fear. And that's something I'm really trying to shift. I'm not perfect at it because, when something happens, or, if there's all of a sudden like a little crisis or something, a flare up, then of course, I don't know, sometimes I think that's like must be a PTSD, right? Where if we've all been dealing with people who have had like addictions, or, some sort of trauma, I think I think especially it must kind of pass on to the caregiver, to the person who loves that person, right? That, what do
Yeah,
you call it? Like maybe secondary PTSD. I don't know, but I just find like if there's a flare up, I'll just feel like, whew, like I could just feel like the anxiety channels just all of a sudden on full alert. So yeah, to remember to stop in that moment and just, breathe and do a little bit of tapping that and praying, and you know it's so important to remember that. But as Donna said, like it's good to practice this now when we're not in those crisis situations, because then it trains us for when, if we ever have to deal with those situations again.
exactly. Yeah, no, it's yeah, no, I agree, is like to feel comfortable using your tools when you're not in crisis, so that you can easier drop into it, like drop into your body, breathing, like, and be gentle with yourself. I mean, sometimes there's times where an incident happens in my home, and exchanging words, and then I'm like, go to my room and journal. I journal all my anger out, right? That's like, it's like, where's this coming from? I didn't sign up for this, right? Like, like there's
Yeah,
no how-to manual.
no, that's right. Especially with children.
Oh,
Um,
for sure. Yeah.
like just like how do you deal with things like when like the journey that I've gone through with my youngest one, it's just like so outside of the textbook. It seems that, for child rearing practices, and I think like I agree, like if I feel very often like, well, I didn't sign up for this, or
Yeah.
and it's not to denigrate, his experience or his person. He's obviously gone through issues, and that's what's driven him to those addictions in the first place. And I have to remember that, and then I have to remember, okay, it's not necessarily me, and if there were some things that I did or said that I have to let that go and ask forgiveness and just forgive myself, and just like keep, build it, trying to build those connections. But sometimes it feels like it's one step forward and three steps back, and then maybe two steps forward and maybe one step back. And, you feel, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's exactly how I've been feeling too. And I'm glad, Forever Young, that you
yeah,
mentioned
Sherry.
uh, about secondary PTSD. That I just said that to someone the other day. That every time my daughter goes through her own episodes of flashbacks from trauma that's happened to her, I feel like I'm going through it again too.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And every time, like, even if he may mention a word or something that, a phrase that might trigger, he may be thinking about, having some sort of suicidal ideations. Like it's like somebody just clamps my heart. That's how it feels like. Like my
Yeah.
heart is constricted, and yeah, it just, the anxiety just all of a sudden just rockets straight up. Um, but yeah, just in the moment, just I don't know, just I guess Lisa, you just like find one point and just keep tapping or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when things, it's normal, right? Just know it's normal, especially as a parent, to feel that way. Um, but even partners living with active addicts, I mean, they're still in like daily chaos. So I think no matter who the addict is, it's still like challenging.
Yeah.
But I would, um, like if you tap regular and or do some of the breathing, because I did, a couple of breathing exercises and expansion exercises in the Break the Pattern Part 1. I think that can help you. And then if there's times where your child is actually, feeling calm and just seems okay, that would be a good time to talk with them and just like um check in, hey, how you doing? And is there anything else you need from me, or any support? And instead of just waiting till there's a blow up and they're having their trauma and then you get embroiled in the escalated feelings, and it um so yeah, and just see, is there anything else you can do for your child? And I still do that with my son. It's like, a couple years ago, even a year ago, he had not wanted nothing to do with therapy, and now he's open. He said yeah, he would go, so I'm actively looking for therapy for him. So um yeah, I guess it's just a matter of just checking in, and then even affirming, when you see, you know, they did something that you liked or was cool, right? Like, oh, you're a good artist, or you're good at doing your craft or whatever they're good at, and just um, affirming them at times too, and just, hey, I love you, just out of the blue for no reason, right? Or, hey, I haven't had a hug in a long time. Can I hug you? You have to gauge your person, obviously, because not everybody wants to be touched, but um, just gentle little things. It's not like in their face, and but just gentle little things to keep connection when you can, when it is calm. And then just getting into the habit of tools, whether it's like the nature walks or um, tapping, essential oils, breathing, call a friend. Like it's um, just so that you have overall better quality of life and not have to hang on to anxiety as much. Maybe you can lessen your anxiety by half by doing some of those tools, right? So hope that helps. And I'm going to stop the recording now. And for anybody who's not on my Facebook page, feel free to hop on to Empowering Women Who Love Addicts on Facebook. And yeah, there'll be more tools and sometimes Facebook Lives put on there. So, and looking for the record button. There we go. Bye. Thanks for joining us.